Hey, what's up everybody? So who is it difficult for you to love? For me, that's easy. It's know-it-alls. For whatever reason, when I'm around somebody who, just acts like they've just got it all together and they have the answer to every question, it drives me nuts. And it's inevitably challenging for me to show that person kindness or to, act loving toward that person. But that's just me. I'd be curious to find out who's it difficult for you to love. You can maybe leave a comment in the comment section below. But First John's got something to say about that, so let's check it out. Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for joining us as we continue in our study of First John. This is our third recap video, and in this video we're going to be looking at three truths that John says will be true of the person, three things that will be true of the person who is in fellowship with God. Okay, so he says God is this, and so people who are in fellowship with God, this will be true of them. Okay, and we're going to look at three of those in this video. That's what we looked at last week in our study. The first one is that since Jesus is the Christ, those in fellowship affirm his deity, and that section goes from 2:18 through 27. I'm just going to read verses 22 and 23, which say, "Who is the liar? But he who denies that Jesus is the Christ. This is the Antichrist." And this is not the Antichrist of Revelation. This is just simply, Antichrist. If you don't affirm his deity, then you're Antichrist. You know what I mean? Certainly the Antichrist of Revelation would fit in that category, but that's not who he's talking about here. Who is the liar? But he who denies that Jesus is the Christ. This is the Antichrist. He who denies the Father and the Son. No one who denies the Son has the Father. Whoever confesses the Son has the Father also. And so since Jesus is the Christ, those in fellowship affirm his deity. If we're in fellowship with God, we're going to affirm what's true about him, and that is that Jesus is the Christ. Okay. Second truth we're going to look at is found in chapter 2:28 through 3:12, and I'm only going to read verse 6. And the truth is that since God is righteous, those in fellowship practice righteousness. And that's something that we saw in our last video. Since God is light, those in fellowship will live holy. And so remember, in 1 John, we're seeing these circular themes where he keeps coming back to these same things. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. But verse 6, "No one who abides in him keeps on sinning. No one who keeps on sinning has either seen him or known him." And so, again, just like we talked about in the last video, the point of this is not try really hard not to sin so you can be in fellowship with God. No. The point is be in fellowship with God, and the result of that will be that we're going to live holier lives. So that's the second truth. The third one that we saw, and I want to camp on this a little bit more, is found in chapter 3:13 through verse 24, and it's, "Since God loves us, those in fellowship love one another." And I'm going to read, starting at verse 16. "By this we know love, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." That's always been a verse that that resonates with me. That it's like I don't want to just talk about being loving. I want my actions to show that I love. And what we see in here is that the result of fellowship with the God who is love is that we're going to be more loving towards others. Okay, here's how I think it works. God is love. He is the source and definition of love. And as we are in intimate fellowship with God, we become able to truly love others. Now, when I say intimate fellowship with God, what I mean is that as we come to know and realize that we are deeply loved by God, and I don't just mean that I know I'm loved on an intellectual level, I mean that I begin to know it in an experiential way. Like I begin to experience God's love in my life as I am in intimate, close fellowship connection with him. As that happens, what happens is I am then able to love others. I can't give other people what I don't have myself. Until I realize that I am deeply loved by God and experience that, I'm not able to love others. But once I do realize that, all of a sudden, true love for others, even the difficult people, becomes possible. Do you know God loves you? I don't mean do you know that in a cheesy bumper sticker kind of way. I mean, do you know that in a real experiential way? Have you experienced the love of God in your life? That's the challenge for us this week. I want to challenge all of us to find some time to be in fellowship with God and seek to experience His love for us. It's only when we do that that we'll really be able to love people, even the difficult people, with a real meaningful, deep kind of love. All right, thanks for watching. We got study coming up this week, so I hope to see you there. And all right, that's it. Now, see ya.